So I think it's time for me to go ahead and move some of my Vandas. Particularly my Teretes. Now, I have all those ones that I got from Moats back in, I think it was like December, and I tried to get them rooting during the winter. And for the time being, the spring, I stuck them up way back in that maple tree. Like, there's one hanging right there, and there's, I think, 10 others up there. The problem is, I can't really see them, so I don't know how well they're doing, and I don't really like that. And I'm noticing that they can take a lot of sun, which, I mean, is a common known thing with these, but I've never grown the quarter Teretes, so I wasn't really sure. So now I think I'm going to go back there and try and get them out of that branch. I don't know how I even got them up there. I mean, how did I do that? I must have stood on the edge of the hot tub. And I'm going to move them over to a place where they'll get hit by the sprayers a little bit more, because they seem to be doing really well with very little attention, so I'd imagine they do really well if they're getting some attention, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go ahead and get those moved, or I'm going to try to. We'll see. Well, that was terrifying. Not to be a wuss or anything, there's a hill back there, so it's, you know, like a 7-foot drop from the back. Which doesn't sound that scary. I had a friend who died a few years ago. He fell. It was about an 8 or 10-foot drop. He's 25 years old and he died. Broke his neck. So ever since then, I don't really mess with stuff like that. But I got the Vandas down. Took a while, but they're back where I can see them, finally. Now, initially, when I had put these up where they were in that tree, I could see them very well. The tree wasn't as full, and I was able to hit them really well with the hose. But the tree filled out, and I really just kind of became concerned, because I was like, you know, I can't even see all of them. And, you know, there is some desiccation in there. The roots are still doing well, but they really need to be moved where I can see them. I don't usually like to keep my orchids someplace that I can't see them very well, because it's good to be able to check on them daily and see what's going on with them. But before I start moving them around to put them away, I am going to go ahead and give them a proper soaking. Just a nice heavy drink so that the roots are a little bit more flexible, so I'm not going to risk breaking any roots in the process. There's a lot of Vandas here. Alright, I also need to go ahead and feed the fish, so I don't want them chewing on the roots. I know the water's murky, it's cycling, and I got a new filter, so that'll get cleared up soon. But right now, I'm talking about the orchids. I don't usually like to have them fully submerged like that either, but I think it's okay, because the air is pretty dry today, so when I pull them out, they'll dry out really fast. Alright. Looking a little bit junky. If you watch my Saturday videos, you see what I'm always doing with all these little things, where I get all my little projects done. Alright. It's been like 30 minutes. I feel like that should be good enough. You know, actually, I'm going to give them a little bit longer. I still see a fair amount of white in those roots. Alright, since it's taken a long time to get those guys soaked, I figured just go on and do a whole long orchid update video, and not just the Vandas. So I got this Agomorchis, and it arrived looking pretty shabby. Pretty much dead and rotten, I would say. I did email the vendor, and they said they'd send me a new one. No questions asked. They didn't ask for pictures, which I was surprised by. But yeah, it's not looking too good. It actually looks a little bit better than it did when it arrived. This piece right here is toast. That was, the crown of it came right out when I unpacked it. And I know it's not an orchid, but orchid people seem to like the carnivorous plants. I got this Nepenthes. I don't know what variety. My local nursery had like a big section of mini carnivorous plants for $5.99. It might just be like the ventroscoma or ventroso. I don't know how you say it. But it's so tiny. Look at how cute and little it is. Teeny tiny little baby pictures. Aww. So tiny, but so menacing. Now, I think it might be time to repot my Ostradella. These are in the Epidendrum family. They get really big. Wow. Cicadas are super loud right now. Sorry if that's annoying. The problem is, everything I've read says that they really don't like their roots to be disturbed. But I really feel like it's getting a bit large for that tiny pot. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do there. I got this new IKEA orchid stand back in May, and I just finished getting it put together. It was missing so many pieces. And turning you off. In the meantime, let's do a what's in bloom. Haven't done one of those in a long time. Got the Grammatophyllum. Got a huge spike on it. Tons of flowers. It's been in bloom for a really long time. It seems to be really liking the spot back here. So I haven't been messing with it, and man, it gets a lot of water. It's within a line of my sprayers that for my palm trees and impatiens. No signs of rot or anything, but I'm keeping a close eye on it. And the Bellara bloomed. This is the Bellara Marfitch Howard's Dream. That's what it's supposed to be anyways. These don't really look like the flowers for that particular orchid. That's okay. Still pretty. It's the second time it's bloomed for me. Very, very, very dark flowers. And my favorite fowl, the Fuller Sunset, still in bloom since last July. Got some little bitty flowers coming out there, some up there. Pretty decent sized keiki. When it's done flowering this time though, I'm going to cut the spikes because the foliage is coming up smaller. And I think it probably wouldn't hurt for it to devote a little bit of time to actually growing. So that's probably what I'm going to do there. Although it looks like there might be another spike starting out fresh from the base. I don't know. But man, this thing is just a bloomer. Like I said, it's been in bloom since July of last year. So over a year, at some point or another, it's always had flowers on it. But they haven't been big, really pretty impressive flowers. And I think that's usually where I have to make the decision of, okay, do I just leave it alone and let it keep doing this, or go ahead and cut it back and get it nice and healthy so it puts out really big, pretty displays. I'd rather it be healthy. And I got this little cutie. This is the Fulford's Gold. Sustained some injuries. Had a couple storms come through and it got knocked out of the tree twice, so now I had it wired around the branches so it couldn't fall out. Flowers are pretty small, but still nice and colorful, lots of detail, very sunsetty, really, really, really sparkly. Wow, can you tell I've had a lot of caffeine today? And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Not a lot of blooms right now, but I got a lot of things in spike. These probably need to soak a little bit longer. I'm just checking to make sure the fish aren't messing with them. I threw some food in there, so they're going after food and ignoring the Vandas. And done. Finally. This is kind of just a big old pile of Vandas here. Everything rehydrated pretty well after 45 minutes to an hour. If they haven't turned green, they're not gonna. So I just went ahead and pulled them. And, you know, sometimes just the lower portions don't green up, and that's okay. It does look like there is still some signs of fungal, the Phyllostoccata. Could just be burns. I've been treating these every month instead of every other month because I want to get that fungus just eradicated before it's time to bring these back into the grow space for the winter time. So ultimately the objective here was to get them down, have a good look at them, give them a nice soak, and then I'm going to move them to a place where where I can see them better and fertilize them more often and, you know, generally just do what you should do for orchids, which is, you know, pay attention to them and take care of them. And I have a spot right here. These arbors, if you follow my other videos, I've been having troubles with storms knocking things over, so they're all wonky. They've been bugging me, but the vines are already growing up them, so I can't really do much with them without destroying the vines and having a major setback. So I'm just kind of learning to live with it this year. But there's this section in here bugging the crap out of me, and I think that the Vandas might do well in there. This gets morning sun and then dappled afternoon sun, and these guys can take a lot of sun. They've been getting full-blown afternoon sun even through those 100-degree days we had a couple weeks ago. What was like a week and a half of triple digits. They did okay, so I think they'll be just fine right here. And over here I have a sprayer right there. It's I believe a 90-degree angled sprayer mister that goes on for like a minute at a time, 4 times a day, just to give everything a little bit of a drink. So they'll benefit from that as well. The question is, how am I going to put them up there? I think since they're on S-hooks, I'm just going to stick them up there for now and maybe order some Spanish moss off eBay to tuck around it and sort of naturalize the look a little bit. And then I'm going to have to be really on top of things to make sure that the vines don't grow over them, because it'll be a nightmare pulling them out of the vines. They're annual vines, so they're going to die anyways because it gets too cold here for them. They're dipladinias or mandavillas. But I don't really want to have to mess with that in the fall when it's time to bring, 200 and something orchids in the house, having to cut the vines off of them. And the vines can strangle them. There's all kinds of reasons to not let the vines grow on them. So that's the plan. I'm going to start putting them up there and see how that looks. Man, look at all those roots. These are actually doing pretty well up in that tree where I couldn't really see them. Maybe I should have left them there. If you don't remember, back in December I received these and they pretty much had like next to nothing as far as roots go. And it was a struggle keeping them alive in the winter indoors or in my grow space. So I would say 90, maybe 80% of the growth that's on here, the root growth, is new. Like since April, maybe May. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That looks good. This is the Josephine Van Barrero crossed with Pet's Delight. Yeah, I'm alright with that. Look at that. Looking good. And I pointed out earlier that it did look like there were still some signs of the Phyllisticata fungus, but I'm going to keep spraying them. I'm not seeing any signs of thrips. That would be little rings along the roots. Not seeing that. There is some purpling or reddening in here, which can be a sign of magnesium deficiency, but these guys are also in nearly full sun, and that can cause those colors to come out as well. But usually it's more when there's like a stress thing going on that you'll see the magnesium deficiency. But my other Vandas I've gone ahead and done the tea bags with. So all these other guys have the bags with fertilizer in them, just like from Maria Young's channel. Check out her video all about that. And I think I'll go ahead and get these set up with those with an all-purpose fertilizer with trace elements in it to help balance out any type of deficiency there might be. Alright, everything is up and in focus. Now I'll just come over here and turn the water on. Yeah, I know I just watered them, so you wouldn't think they'd need any water. I really just wanted to test out and see what's getting hit by the sprinklers and what isn't. So I can see what needs to be adjusted. Not sure if that guy's getting it. Okay, overall, I'm going to need to make some changes. Tried my best to keep them from overlapping. Like I said, I'm going to put the fertilizer bags on them. And I actually do run fertilizer through a system that comes out of the sprinklers, but it's a very, very, very low, mild dosage. So I will probably still do that with the slow release fertilizer. Overall, everything seems okay. There's some slight desiccation, but that's really, I think, going to be pretty easily fixed. I'll take some desiccation over fungus and bacteria any day. Okay, that's actually really getting in the way. So they're not overlapping too terribly much. There's only so much I can do for that in a confined space. Alright, so I know I haven't uploaded any orchid videos in a long time. And I'm sorry about that, but it's just kind of been one of those situations where it's like, no news is good news. But I will try and be better and do at least 3 to 4 videos a month, if it matters. I don't know. All my other videos are just generally tropical plants and perennials. So, hope everybody's doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you already haven't. I do try to upload other types of videos multiple times a week. Comment down below. Let me know how your plants are doing. And as always, keep on growing. Bye-bye.